Hey guys, welcome into an interesting video on Wild Rift. So Zero are finally back with a Tristana updated complete guide, and she's gonna be the last ADC we have to cover in terms of updated complete guides for this major patch cycle. And what I mean by that is, for the patch 5.3x patches, of course we have 5.3 ABC. There's likely gonna be a D, and then we're gonna move on to 6.0 in the new year, I believe. But yeah, generally, of course, my guides will be, of course, accurate for the current major patch cycle, and of course we always gotta update them when we move on to the next one. But let's jump into Tristana's guide. Before we get into the loadout though, don't forget to check out her basic guide. I'll put up in the cards right now for her skills, living order tips and tricks, as well as a couple of combos. But with that said, now let's hop into it. So quickly going through the items, runes, and spells, we have the Gluttonous Greaves as usual as the first item for the AD and the Omnivan, followed by another staple, the Bloodthirster, for the huge amounts of AD and physical VAM, as well as the additional stats when you're high on health. Of course, we have Navori Quick Blades as our second full item. A little bit more AD, of course, the ability Haste, and most importantly, the Death Strikes passive to allow you to get your, basically your E, your Q, and even your W, all of your cooldowns are basically, just up very, very often. Gives you so much more uptime, just amazing item. Then we have Magnetic Blaster as our third item, giving you the extra range and, of course, the Static Shift passive, as well as, of course, giving you more attack speed and crit. Of course, no IE here. I'll talk a little bit more about that as to why in the gameplay. But we have more reminder next for Armor Pen and Grievous Wounds. And last item is pretty flexible. You can go for something defensive such as Maul. I think Maul is pretty much the best defensive option if there's heavy AP or even some AP on the enemy team. Of course, you have other options like Static Gauge for the shield, like GA for the revive. And a kind of an interesting one is, by the time you reach late game Tristana, you're gonna have such insane range. You have the highest base ADC range at level 15, and Runans at this point is actually gonna be pretty insane because you're gonna be able to hit people from like a screen away without them being able to touch you. So Runans actually is a pretty insane item here. The only issue with that one is the fact that you actually have no defensive capabilities with Runans at all, but it's kind of your choice. So runes, of course, we have Lethal Tempo for the attack speed and attack range. We have Brutal because you auto attack a ton. Giant Slayer generally is the best here to counter high health enemies. Of course, Coup de Grace works against those squishy teams as well. And we have Alacrity for the additional attack speed. And here we have Bone Plating for the defensive capabilities, as well as Flash and Exhaust as our summoner spells. But with all that said, let's hop into our gameplay. Alright, so now into the gameplay as usual. So we're gonna, of course, remind you guys to like, comment, and subscribe. Any questions, queries, or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and of course be sure to address them. So first order of business here is to, of course, explain why we're not going for IE. So as I said, pretty much everybody who used to go for Blaster is going back to go for IE. Champions like Xayah, like Sivir, a lot of these champions that could, swap out IE for Blaster, they're now going back to IE instead of going for Blaster. So why is Tristana not doing that? Well, basically the very short and simple answer is that she just doesn't need IE's damage, right? So what does Blaster give you, right? Bonus range and attack speed, right? It's pretty alright, pretty useful depending on which champion you are. But IE seems to be better because it gives you so much AD, and it gives you, of course, that bonus crit damage. But why doesn't Tristana need that? Well, basically, Tristana's play pattern is pretty simple. Generally, you're either far away, just auto-attacking whoever you can, or you're jumping in and exploding someone with your bomb. Of course, you could be far away, exploding someone with your bomb as well. But the main point is that whoever it is you attach your bomb to generally is going to die to that bomb when it explodes, or is going to be like 1 or 2 hits away from dying when the bomb explodes. So you really don't need the extra damage from IE to, pop them, because so much of your damage comes from your bomb anyway. Of course, a lot of it does come from auto attack as well. But the main point is that Tristana players have pretty much figured out that you don't actually need IE. You can go for Magnetic Blaster, which is a lot cheaper of an item, and you can still do insane amounts of damage. There's no need to go for a greedy IE. So you can just pretty much just skip IE and just go for the Blaster. So yeah, Tristana I think is pretty much the only champion that does it. I've of course tried out both builds, and I do think that of course IE build does have its merits as well, but I just think the Blaster build is just superior. Furthermore, the attack speed from Blaster allows you to charge up your bomb faster, so that's another perk. So now let's talk a little bit more about the gameplay here. So here you can see Rakan is hopped in, taking a tower shot by accident. Now I find myself in a little bit of trouble because Jhin is doing a ton of damage, and I do end up dying to the Q of the Jin. Seraphine now flashes forward and is able to help to trade onto the Jin. But by the way, guys, if you guys remember in patch 5.3, which is at this point a couple of months ago now, at patch 5.3, Tristana did get her base AD nerfed, and I've been playing a lot of Tristana this season now. I know that might be surprising to some of you guys considering how I did not make Tristana content for months, but I've been playing a lot of Tristana this season. Only just gotten around to making the video for her, but I've been playing a lot of Tristana, and I found that the base AD nerf is really significant. Like, she feels so much weaker in the early game. She feels like a lot more of a mid to late game champion now, and she's not even a mid game champion, right? Because she has a mid game power drop, so she's really just a late game champion. The only way you can get out of this is if you get so far ahead in the early game that you just stomp people. So as a result, I do think Tristana has gotten a lot weaker. She is probably going to need to move down the tier list a little bit. I don't plan on making a tier list for this patch, but I will be doing so for, of course, patch 6.0 or whatever the next year's, the new major patch is going to be called. I believe it will be 6.0 because they do like to change the first number, you know, every time it goes to a new year. So us being in like December now probably means that we will be getting a 6.0 next. But yeah, so by the way, guys, now Victor is of course released. You can see mid lane we do have a Victor on our team. Have you guys tried Victor? What do you guys think of him? Personally, I think his E is really impossible to, not impossible, it's really difficult to aim, because you have to of course use the tick and kind of lock the direction of the E, and then you can actually release the E, which is really difficult to do, right? It's just one of those things that on PC it's so much easier because you can use your cursor and kind of just click where you want to, but on Wild Rift it's not the case. So here we do an amazing bait where we bait the Jin and the Rakan into the Camille, and we still nearly died to the Jin, by the way. Now we are going on to the Rakan, just blasting him away. Camille is tanking the tower. Rakan gets a knock up, and we're able to actually finish him off just barely as Camille drops the aggro. Camille probably could have tanked another tower shot there, but obviously she panicked, because you know how a lot of people are. The moment they start taking tower aggro, they panic and they just start running out of the tower. But in reality, that could have messed me up, but thankfully it did not. So yeah. But yeah, it's just one of those cases with Victor that on mobile controls it's so much harder to do. Like, Victor's E is so difficult to do on mobile. I'm actually kind of partially surprised they didn't actually change his E, because of course, sometimes you just think about like what champion are they gonna import to Wild Rift. I did think of Victor, like, you know, a long time ago, but I was thinking that his E is way too hard to import into Wild Rift, which is why he wasn't here. I mean, they did do so eventually, which is like right now, but yeah, his E mechanic is really difficult to do. I'm surprised they didn't actually change it. Of course, there are a lot of other champions like Draven or Kalista that are way easier to play on Wild Rift and PC, because you know you can use your joystick and, you know, move with Kalista and to catch your X's and determine the X direction with Draven, which is a lot harder to do on PC. Here another gang, not another gang, but a gang comes in from Victor, this time instead of Camille, and this time we finish off the Jin with, but in so doing I actually pushed the Rakan to safety, so Rakan is actually able to survive, which is a tad unfortunate. The Victor's ult does not finish off Rakan, but yeah. As a result, we get to unload on the tower again, and we're just blasting this tower. We're actually like basically taking the entire tower. We get first tower of the game within the first 6 minutes of the game, which doesn't happen every day. So honestly, I'm not even gonna lie, we basically benefited just from ganks, right? Like we died 2v2 to the Jin Rakan, but the moment Camille ganked, we got a double kill. You know, Victor ganked, we got another kill. And essentially, our team has put us ahead. So with that lead, we are now at like 5k gold, which is way ahead of basically anybody else. And Mordekaiser is also at 5k gold. He's also way ahead of anybody else. So we're in a terrific spot here. And of course, what we want to do is we want to continue to snowball lead. We want to translate our lead to other lanes if possible. Camille comes in for another gank again. She's heavily committing here. I'm just putting the bomb onto Rakan, flash forward, finish him off. Bomb explodes onto Jin. Jin gets taken out as well. Heal doesn't really do very much for him, and they both end up going down. However, in trade, the enemy team does get the Mimics. Personally, I think trading 2 kills for Mimics is not the most worth, because the Mimics get you a lot of tower plates as well as a lot of tower damage onto possibly all 3 lanes, so I'm not the biggest fan of that. However, Vi and Gather are stuck in a fight, so then if they don't use their mimics by 30 more seconds, they're actually not going to actually be useful at all. Not saying not useful at all, but they're not gonna get them the plates, and that actually makes it a good trade, because now we've gotten 4 kills for the mimics, right? And that's an actual good trade. In fact, I'm taking plates from the mid lane tower instead of them taking plates from our tower, so 10 more seconds before the plates fall, and I'm hoping that top lane doesn't get to activate the mimics before the plates fall. They are trying their best to make it there, and I believe they are not successful. And in fact, I get the mid lane tower before they even get to the top lane tower. Now I'm rotating back to top to defend, but I do believe they will get the tower, because the tower becomes super duper squishy after the plates fall. Now Jin and Rakan are in a very weird position. Rakan engages. Seraphine ults the wrong guy. I'm not sure why she's going for Rakan when there's Jin. And here Jin is actually able to run away with the help of his flash, and he's 1 HP. No idea where he went, but of course Seraphine can't kill Rakan by herself either, so we basically end up killing nobody, because again, in my opinion, I think Seraphine went for the wrong target. I'm not sure why she altered Rakan when we should have been going for Jin. The ADC is generally the more valuable target compared to the support. But both of them end up escaping with their lives, which I think is a heist if I've ever seen one. And here we complete our Navori second item, and at this point, we're 5-1. We're incredibly far ahead. Same goes with Mordekaiser, who is on par, with us in terms of the gold lead. And here we're just looking for farm, so we're just going to quickly farm up that Gromp on the way. Here I'm waiting for Jin to step up, and he does indeed step up. So I'm just jumping on him, popping my bomb. You can see he nearly gets one shot by my bomb. If he didn't heal there, he would have just been popped by the bomb, which is kind of why you really don't need IE for Tristana's build. Just charging up the bomb faster with Blaster is just going to be better in majority of the circumstances, majority of situations. So, that's why we go for that one. So, with Jin out of commission, we have kind of free reign to just roam around. We are farming the enemy jungle, rotating to mid to see if we can help our team out. Vi is getting taken down by Victor and Seraphine. I'm just blasting this tower with my bomb, just one-shotting that tower, and then farming the enemy jungle again. However, we can see Renekton, he's pretty low health though, so he's not too big of a problem. Rakan now shows up as well, so a couple of bodies from the enemy team are now in the vicinity, so we do want to be a little bit cautious here. Don't want to play overly aggressive. Now just helping Mordekaiser to shove in the wave a little bit. Honestly, at this point, our team is like really far ahead, particularly because of myself and Mordekaiser. Enemy team is going to have a tough time getting anything really done right now, so we're in a very commanding position. As long as we don't throw the lead, we should be good to go. However, we do now want to get a reset, because we've got a ton of gold. The next objective is going to be spawning soon, so we want to get a reset. We want to spend our gold and then head over to the next objective. So in this case, we're getting our components for the blaster, and then we're going to head back out as Jin gets one shot by Victor right here. And we head over to the dragon. But here is pretty interesting. So we're 5 men at the dragon. I don't really think we need 5 men to take dragon, but enemy team appears to either be contesting or going for mid tower. So here dragon still is spawning right now. It appears the enemy team is not contesting and they're going for mid tower. So instead of just doing dragon, we're actually going to go defend our mid tower, because we don't actually need to give them mid tower in exchange for dragon. We're so strong that we can defend mid tower and get dragon. So why give the enemy team anything, right? We don't want to give them a bounty. We don't want to give them our mid lane tower for sure. So we're going to defend mid first, then go for dragon, then go back to mid. And they're actually picking a fight with us, which is insane. Rakan gets a huge 3-man knockup, but Seraphine gets a 2-man charm. I'm blasting the Galio, and then the Rakan, I'm now hopping over to get the Vi as well. I know Renekton's over the walls, I'm going to chase him down. I'm actually looking for Penta here. I'm not sure where Jin is, which is kind of the issue. So here I'm just blasting flash forward for the Quadra. I know Camille's trying to KS me, so I don't need to go for that. So now I'm thinking, Quadra's all I'm gonna get. I see Jin, and I'm running after him. So unfortunately, he has flash. So unfortunately, there's no Penta for me. And I'm not sure how long the Penta timer is gonna run down, but honestly, they're about to respawn soon, so it's still kind of a possibility. I'm going in for Jin, but he gets ulted by Mordekaiser, which is, yeah. So at this point, I kind of given up on the Penta. I'm just kind of just walking away now. Although now I can just blast them for free. So here I'm just blasting them for free. They can't even reach me. So Vi nearly gets one shot. Galio's taking a chunk of damage as well. Rakan pretty much gets one shot right here. Does end up dying to the bomb, I believe. And Victor picks up a triple kill. I take 2 Nexus tower shots, which basically kills nearly my entire health. But here we end the game, and that's pretty much going to be it. So thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.